Hello, I'm Ginger Jaffrey. Welcome to Gifts from the Heart, Stories of Giving in Western New York. Our hometown is special because of the many ways we help each other and promote cultural diversity. But these groups would not be able to exist without proper funding. And in our special presentation, I'm going to introduce you to the Association of Fundraising Professionals Western New York Chapter. Their mission is to empower individuals and organizations to practice ethical fundraising through professional education, networking, research, and advocacy. We're going to meet some very special people committed to that mission. Plus, I'll share the stories of two very unique organizations that make living here in Western New York so special, and how some generous benefactors make that happen. Let's get started with a trip to East Aurora and a visit to the Roycroft campus. The village of East Aurora is rich in history. It's a landmark destination in Western New York for its historical charm and character. Visitors to the village may find themselves drawn to the Roycroft campus, known for its elegant beauty and unique architectural setting. The campus was founded by Elbert Hubbard at the turn of the 19th to 20th century. Through charitable giving from foundations, companies, and individuals, the Roycroft campus remains a National Historic Site for all to learn from and enjoy.
Mother is Elbert Hubbard's great-grandniece.
With her family ties, Brenda acquired items owned by the famous Elbert Hubbard.
They were historic, and they should go where they could be appreciated.
Kurt Moranto from the Roycroft says he remembers receiving the call from Brenda and her daughter about a dusty box in their garage labeled "Do Not Throw Away." He was overjoyed with Brenda's treasure trove.
You know, it truly is remarkable how things come together here on the campus. Brenda was actually on a flight with one of our board members and just struck up a conversation and found out that, oh, well, I'm from East Aurora, oh, you're from East Aurora. And Brenda proceeded to tell her, oh, well, we have all sorts of artifacts and things that we would love to, show you.
And we had a lot of old, dusty boxes that I had never looked in. I just started carefully going through boxes and found one that said, "Do not throw away."
It was just a treasure trove of information, and with every page that turned, we just got that much more excited. And it's hard to imagine that you get excited when you're going through someone else's mail, but it was like, oh my God, look at this. Oh, wow, this is fantastic.
Treasures like Elbert Hubbard's postcard from the Lusitania, family photos, and artifacts that piece together the history of the Roycroft. Brenda's generosity in donating these historical pieces and funds to the Roycroft spawned the creation of the Elbert Hubbard Roycroft Museum, a must-see attraction for Roycroft aficionados.
Mother knew they were struggling to get the campus back up to the way it used to be. And so she asked me to talk to the lawyers and see if we could give a gift. And I made the call, and they had some stocks that she said she would love to transfer. And Mother, what do you say about the stocks? They were just what?
Sitting around, and I didn't think they should be useless. They ought to be part of things.
She said they're just laying around. We need to give them to the Roycroft.
I think it was just this sheer joy of being reconnected with the past. And we're finding that with a lot of descendants of the family, that they can come back to this campus and there is this connection. This is the birthplace. This is where it all began. Our mission is to preserve the Roycroft campus. It's to preserve the structures that we have here on the campus. It is also to preserve the values that the campus stood for at the turn of the century, while also looking to the future and being able to present a more modern Roycroft. It really is this great attraction that will educate individuals. It also is going to give individuals the opportunity to sit and do research, to sit down, handle, read, and be able to learn more about the Roycroft.
Kurt Moranto describes the opening of the museum as a renaissance, motivating other members of the Hubbard family and collectors nationwide to witness the re-emergence of the campus. He adds there can't be a more exciting time for the Roycroft campus and East Aurora as a whole. And who would ever imagine that it could all begin with one dusty box?
That box could have been lost. They could have just thrown it away. The box could have gone to a private collector. You would have never seen any of this again. You would have never seen the postcard. It is amazing that one box, at the end of the day, spurred all of this, created this museum.
It makes her super happy to get this up and running, and then we get to be a part of it. We think it's pretty cool.
I'm joined now by Jeff Bagel, the president of the board of directors of the Association of Fundraising Professionals Western New York Chapter. Jeff, thank you so much for being here today. Now, you were at the Roycroft campus when that story that we just aired was created. What makes that gift so special to the Roycroft?
Wow, what a story that was. When philanthropy is at its most powerful, at its most impactful, ask yourself this question: how did it impact the donor? How did it impact the organization? And how did the gift or gifts impact the community? So let's go back to the donor. Did you see Brenda, the mother and daughter, and the look of joy to see that box and to be able to donate it and then to make an extra gift after that? It was impactful not only to them, but then to their family, who then started giving more money too. Very powerful when philanthropy impacts a donor like that. And then how does it impact the organization? They have a brand new museum on the Roycroft campus that they didn't have before, that started by this wonderful gift from this family. Just a wonderful way for them to build what they want to do, which is build their mission and build what they can do for tourism and everything in the area. And then the community. What a gift that was to the community, to be able to keep it. And in the community, like it was said in the piece, like what Kurt said, this could have ended up in a collector somewhere, never to be seen again. Now it can be shared in the community. And these gifts just make the Roycroft that much stronger. So when you put the three together, impacting the donor, impacting the organization, impacting the community, wow, was that special and huge.
All right, so why is it so important that professionals are involved in accepting donations of any gift to a nonprofit organization?
The greatest trait any fundraiser has is listening. You want to listen to the donor. You want to listen to the prospect. You want to learn what's important to him or what's important to her, so you can match the donor's wants with the organization's needs. So if that box was just dropped off, sure, it probably would have been opened, and that would have come out, all the stuff that was in there, and it would have been nice. But when you get a professional fundraiser involved who is trained to listen, who is trained to learn, who is trained to want to know what's important to the donor and already knows what's important to the organization and can work to, again, to match the organization's needs with the donor's wants, it becomes that much bigger, that much better. So in a case like the Roycroft, because trained professionals, fundraising professionals were involved, they were able to sit down with the donor and sit down with the donor's family and learn some stories firsthand and learn, most importantly, what did the donor want from this gift? What was important to the donor to make this gift? And then be able to come back and work with the donor to make sure that those donors' wants and expectations were not only met, but they were exceeded. When they first called with that one box, I'm pretty sure that they weren't thinking there'd be a whole museum that would just be started from that. But because of the trained fundraisers to be able to listen and match the needs, look at the great things that happen. And that happens throughout many organizations throughout Western New York because we have so many talented fundraisers in this community.
All right, very important. Now let's talk a little bit about the Donor Bill of Rights. It's important to note that fundraisers need to adhere to a code of ethics. So what does that code of ethics involve?
The Association of Fundraising Professionals is an international organization. We have about 33,000 members worldwide. In Western New York, we're one of 181 chapters, and we have about 190 members. To be a member of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, you have to sign a fundraising code of ethics.
Okay.
It's a big piece of paper, and we all read it. I read mine every year when I renew my membership. But basically, what it states is that you will always have the donors and the organizations best interest at heart. And any decisions that you make will always be what's best for the donor and what's best for the organization. The code of ethics, it's what we live on. It's what's important to us. So one of the major parts of the fundraising code of ethics, our fundraisers were not compensated by commission. So if you make a gift, we don't get a piece of it. And that's done for a reason. That's done because we want to make sure that you know, if we're talking to you as a prospective donor, that we have your interests at heart, not our own personal interests at heart. So we are never compensated based on the gift or incentivized that particular way. And that is the crux of our profession, and that's what we hang our hat on, is we are the conduit. Professional fundraisers are the conduit between the donor and the organization. And it's our job to make sure it's a win for both, and then especially that if you restrict your gift to something specific within the organization, it's our job as the fundraisers to make sure that the gift is used in the exact way that you, the donor, had it intended to be.
So how do fundraising professionals connect with not-for-profit organizations? Does AFP seek them out, or do organizations reach out to you?
A little bit of both. Again, we have about 190 members locally, and we're represented by more than 120 different organizations locally. So what I would like to share with you is, if you are a fundraiser, if you're a volunteer fundraiser, even if you're raising money for your church or for your children's soccer or hockey team, if you're interested in fundraising and want to learn how to do it right, consider becoming a member. Secondarily, if you are in a leadership position at an organization that employs a fundraiser or fundraisers, look at the Association of Fundraising Professionals as a professional membership group that you would want your employees to join, and if possible, budget the money for them to do so. It's a wonderful opportunity, again, so when you're fundraisers, it's a great networking. There's monthly programs. They're going to learn what they do, others do as well. There's best practices that are shared. As a community, we are stronger as a whole when we're all practicing our profession and our craft as well as we can. And the Association of Fundraising Professionals is certainly a vehicle to make that happen. So I'd really encourage, if you are a fundraiser, look at joining. If you're not a fundraiser, but it even interests you as a field, come to a meeting, look at joining. If you're an organization, again, that's employing fundraisers, look at having them not only join, but become active.
All right, this might be a bit of a basic question, but it's important. What defines a not-for-profit organization?
It's a 501c3 organization, and there are thousands of 501c3 organizations in this area and throughout the country. And this time of year, Ginger, when people are making their gifts in organizations, this is when a lot of organizations raise most of their money. You may ask, how do I know if I'm investing in an organization that I want to invest in? I recommend go to GuideStar. All 501c3 organizations have to complete a federal form called a 990. It's a tax return. GuideStar compiles them all. You can access it for free, and you can do that for your own research. It's a great jumping off point to make sure that the not-for-profit that you're investing in is one that you want to invest in.
Absolutely. If you're going to make that investment, do the homework.
Right.
Jeff, thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you continue to do. Now, our next story takes us to the Southern Tier in Olean, New York, to be exact, where we find out about the Cattaraugus Region Community Foundation and the special people committed to that community. At just 5 years old, Jim Reed remembers the moment he met his infant sister.
I actually remember the day that she came home from the hospital, and I remember peeking up over into her crib and looking at her and saying, there's nothing different about this girl.
The youngest of 10, Barbie Reed was born with Down syndrome. In 1955, Jim says the common solution for children with Down syndrome was to institutionalize. That was not the norm for the Reed family, who fought for Barbie's rights. They joined forces with other parents faced with similar medical challenges.
They scratched and clawed for money, kept their kids at home, held spaghetti dinners, raised enough money to rent a room and hire a teacher, and start out the program, which today is the Cattaraugus County Rehabilitation Center.
The Cattaraugus County Rehabilitation Center has grown substantially and supports and enhances the lives of people with disabilities. With much joy, Barbie became involved in SubCon, a division of the rehab center that provides employment opportunities.
She was very proud of her work. And then every other Friday, she would get a paycheck. And first thing she would do is she would call me up and she'd have it written down on a piece of paper. And she'd tell me exactly how much money she made that week. And she would always say to me, guess what? I beat you.
Jim says the beautiful impact SubCon had on his younger sister's life was inspiring. After many years of employment and her passing in 2016, Jim knew he had to make a meaningful difference in Barbie's memory. And he knew the perfect cause, fueled by Barbie's love for company-wide gatherings and social events with her fellow SubCon employees.
Part of the reason that we set up the fund for Barbie is that they really didn't have earmarked funds to have parties, to have a Christmas party. They usually scratched and clawed and got a little bit of money and held pizza parties, but there's nothing that Barbie liked more than a party.
What did Barbie love the most? Parties. Parties and? Pizza. Pizza, yes. And being with her friends.
Jim and his wife Juanita established the Barbie Reed Social Fund with a goal to encourage annual celebrations within the SubCon division. The funds were set up through the Cattaraugus County Community Foundation.
Happy birthday to you. Many more.
They came into our office and said, we want to do this, we want to establish this fund to remember Barbie and give back to SubCon. As a community foundation, it's really important for us to meet the needs of the community wherever they are. And to give grants to all different kinds of program areas. So this was something that maybe we wouldn't have thought about on our own. So it's really encouraged us to be creative in our grant making and be considerate of all the causes and all the needs of the community and not focus on one thing or get hung up on one thing, that there's areas of need all over.
Kirk Windus says the Community Foundation's sole purpose is to connect donors with local causes they're passionate about.
SubCon it's a staple of this community. It's been here a long time and it employs people that deserve to be employed and do great work. For us to be able to give back to that, it's a really important thing. So, you know, it really just helps us meet the needs of our community, and that's what means the most to us.
The Reed family says the support from the Community Foundation, coupled with the generosity from loved ones, brought in enough donations to support 18 years of annual employee celebrations. It's something the family is enthusiastic about.
We put the original seed money in, and it was followed up by all the members of my family. We recently got a substantial donation from a nephew, and the fund has grown tremendously since we put the initial seed money in.
The Reeds are really gracious people, and from the moment we met them, that was very clear. And we're so blessed as a community foundation to be able to work with donors like that just have the best intentions at heart and just want to give back to the community and their family and preserve the memory of somebody that they cared so deeply about.
Barbie was my very best friend. I really enjoyed her.
I like Barbie because she would tell people to take a hike, and she always said, "Hi, pal," and she was a good friend, and I miss her very much.
I love you, Barbie. I love you.
You only have to look at the faces in there. You know, the happy faces, they're smiling. There's nothing that they like more than a party. There's nothing Barbie liked more than a party.
Jim says Barbie's friends at SubCon were a vital part of her life, and they're thrilled to carry on her legacy in this way.
It was a real treat and a real pleasure for us to have a sister like Barbie.
Joining us now is Kate Heidinger, a member of the Board of Directors for the Association of Fundraising Professionals Western New York Chapter. Kate, thank you so much for being here today. Now, you were in Olean to help bring us that story that we just watched. So tell us, why is the Cattaraugus Region Community Foundation so important to the population it serves?
Sure. So the purpose of the Community Foundation is to connect donors who have an interest in improving their community with causes and organizations that exist to make their wishes come true, make that happen. So with this particular story, Jim and Juanita and their family really wanted to extend the legacy of Barbie's love for having parties and for that social interaction, and really wanted to make sure that lasted as long as possible. And through a traditional mechanism like just giving directly to the organization, some organizations have a way to ensure that that lasts as long as possible, but many don't. And a community foundation can ensure that their gift is invested in such a way and is kind of structured in a way that meets the goals and the intentions of the donors exactly as they intend. And for our chapter in particular, why we've really enjoyed sharing this story is that it's important that people know that our Western New York chapter really covers the 8 counties of Western New York. We're not isolated just to the Buffalo metro area, and there are really amazing things happening in Niagara County and Cattaraugus, Wyoming. There are really just fabulous things happening all over this area. So we're happy to help be a part of all of that for all of our members.
Yeah, it is a large, diverse region. And it is important to recognize that there are many organizations in Western New York that serve specific populations, and funding for them is critical.
Yeah, I think we tend to hear a lot about really huge projects and huge organizations, but there are so many nonprofits throughout this area, and to encourage and empower our colleagues, whether it's from a one-person fundraising shop all the way up to an organization that can employ 30 or 50 fundraisers. AFP ensures that all of our members are able to connect with each other and learn from each other, whether they're very small or very large. And that sort of collaboration, idea sharing, and networking is really valuable for fundraisers to think creatively and think beyond what's right in front of us. And by connecting with each other and thinking about how what's the best practice, or how would a large organization do it, or how would a small organization handle the question or the gift, it allows us to really meet the donor where they're at.
Yeah, what you just said sort of leads into my next question, and that's about the importance of continuing education for fundraising professionals. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think, by and large, fundraisers are not coming into the field of philanthropy and fundraising, trained. You don't. Some go to school for this, but by and large, they don't. So, we're learning on the job. We're learning, as needs come to us, as projects are presented to us by our organization, or as gifts are, dropped into our lap, which is very exciting. But what do you do? What's the best way to handle these situations? And through AFP, we have a number of education opportunities. We have monthly webinars that are, very inexpensive, all the way up through, an opportunity to attend our larger national conferences, and any opportunity in between to learn not only from the best in our field nationwide, but again, to learn from each other, to be able to have networks built in, to be able to call another colleague and say, hey, I have this donor who is interested in making a very unique gift, and I think you've maybe handled something similar. Can you tell me how you walked through that? Through AFP, we not only have the connections to ask those questions, but we have mechanisms to try and educate our members ahead of those situations and to think and prepare for them. I think sometimes when an everyday person sort of thinks of fundraising, you think of a basic basket raffle or an auction or a fundraising event, and those are all very wonderful and very important pieces. But the education that comes from AFP allows us to learn how best to implement other fundraising mechanisms that are maybe more cost efficient and allow our donor dollars to go further into our programming.
It's great to have those resources available. And we have an important website we want to share with you, and we'll talk about it a little bit with Kate. It is afpwny.afpnet.org. Now, Kate, here you can learn more about many of the great not-for-profits around Western New York, especially as you consider maybe making a holiday season gift. So what could people find on this website, Kate?
Sure, not only can they learn more about what organizations are represented by our membership, but they can also learn more about different education opportunities that we may have coming up. We host luncheons each month. We have webinars. We do have a lunch coming up this December, and if any of the viewers are interested in joining us as our guest, we would love to have them. They can call the number, it's listed on the screen, or visit the website, and they can let us know that they saw Jeff and I here today, and we would be happy to host them.
So there is such a thing as a free lunch.
There is.
All right, that number is 716-887-2655. So Kate and Jeff, if someone is watching and they're a fundraiser interested in becoming maybe a member of your organization, what qualifications would they require?
Really, anybody can join us and be a member, because truly anybody can be a fundraiser, whether you're a professional or a volunteer, you're a young professional, or even if you're retired and still want to keep up on the latest happenings of what's taking place in the field. You know, we are happy to welcome anybody and train anyone on how best to help connect their network with great causes in the community.
All right, great to know. And we are really just scratching the surface of all the organizations we have seen here in this special. There's plenty more out there.
Wow, there's a ton out there. There are great donors in this community. There are great not-for-profits doing tremendous things to improve the lives of members of our community every day. And just to be able to showcase these two and to work with WBBZ on this project has been outstanding. And stay tuned, hopefully there's more to come.
All right. Well, it must be very fulfilling for both of you to know that your work and the work of your organization is helping to make life in Western New York just so much better.
It really is. You know, I have a very wonderful opportunity where I work to be able to see the people who benefit from the dollars that I help to bring in and see them benefit from that each day. And it is very humbling and very fulfilling, and it makes me very gracious and thankful for everything that our donors make possible.
Jeff, did you want to add?
Philanthropy is what drives a community. For this community to be as good as it can be, it needs to be philanthropic, and it is, and it's getting more philanthropic all the time.
All right, we want to thank Kate Heidinger and Jeff Bagel for joining us here today and sharing the mission of the Association of Fundraising Professionals Western New York Chapter to empower individuals and organizations to practice ethical fundraising through professional education, networking, research, and advocacy. And if you'd like more information, that website is afpwny.afpnet.org. I'm Ginger Jeffrey. Thank you for watching Gifts from the Heart, Stories of Giving in Western New York.